Welcome to The Eyes of Indigo with your infinitely curious hosts, Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. Our show is broadcast live at 9:30 p.m. Wednesdays. Socio-spiritual topics are laced with humor as we discuss weird stuff in a rational way. Learn more about us in our first episode, The Prequel. Shows are recorded and available on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, iTunes, and other aggregators. A keyword searchable index is at iriscarter.com/EOI directory. Share ideas and comments in the program chat or by email. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share our show. Let us know you're here by typing your hello in the comments because we are thrilled to welcome you as we begin another adventure right now.
Hello.
Good evening. Good
I'm going to let you
evening.
take over while I handle some technical crap.
No worries. I will still steer this barge as we go down
Although
the
we got
river
a
of
few
life.
seconds. Yeah, but it's just out.
No worries. Yeah, YouTube, Facebook, and all that's being a little bit weird tonight. But what else is new in the world of techno? Hi, I'm Margot. Beside me is Iris, as you can see on the bottom of the screen. If you are with us here live, or if you are a person from the future who is listening on a recording, either audio or video, welcome back. We are happy to have our regulars and our new visitors with us tonight. And what we do is pretty much outlined in the intro that you just saw. And so tonight's show, we basically just called it Bilderberg. We don't know if that word's going to get us censored because it might, just like a few other keywords that will get you censored on YouTube and Facebook as well. And if you are a regular on the show, you already know how I feel about censorship. And everything I know, Iris is right behind me on that. We're both former English professors and educators and so on. So not big fans of censorship at all, at all. So we believe you should be able to choose and think and learn for yourself, that somebody else shouldn't be limiting what you feel and think. Back to the show. We're going to be talking about this group that is commonly known as the Bilderberg Group, Bilderberg Association. There's all kinds, but it's what it is one word for a group of elites. What kind of elites they are, what they're doing since 1954, and what they are doing openly in secret. And what I mean by that is they are open about the fact that their meetings are secret and covert and always have been, and that identities are protected, and to the point that they have extreme levels of security whenever they gather, which is purportedly once a year, but we're pretty clear that that happens more than that. Now, why are we particularly interested in this group? Why do we care about the secret machinations of a bunch of elites? We're very concerned about secret meetings by the top 1% who generally pull all the strings that move this world and move our cultures, all of them, not just the United States. I'm speaking in general terms, but we're going to dig in a little bit and spell stuff out and make it more clear about why Bilderberg is even an issue, is even a point. And basically, we're going to go over who is it. Whoops, you took it away.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was just trying to add a little bit of accent. I actually caught up to you, and that's why I was.
You're good. Who is Bilderberg? What is it? What do they do? Why should you or anyone care? So join us and find out tonight. Iris, where do we go from here?
Okay. Yeah, I finally got this stuff straightened out. So everybody's going on YouTube and on Facebook. So And again, if you're here, we don't know you're here because we're not watching the YouTube and the Facebook page. We depend on you saying hello. And if you don't want me to show your name in the screen, just say, hey, don't show me. But we like to know who's here.
Type, what the fuck?
Yeah, you
Type
so crazy.
namaste. Yeah. What was that about? Whatever you want to say.
Yeah. All right. So, Bilderberg. First of all, what I wanted to share was the background. Hey, Lena, it's good to see you, Lena Ray. So, yes, thank you very much.
Hi, sweetie.
Saying something, and ask questions as we go along. You know, give us feedback. Tell us if you think this stuff is crazy as shit. Whatever you think, but I've been researching, and it's interesting. The more I research, the further down the rabbit hole I go. But just to give you an overview, Bilderberg started. It started in 1954, and it's called the Bilderberg meeting, and they have annual meetings. Like I said, started in 1954. The meetings last for 3 days. And the first meeting was in Hotel de Bilderberg in Oosterbeek, I think, in the Netherlands. 2 O's, 2 E's, you figure it out. Oosterbeek. And it's usually held about this time of year. This year's event was held from the 18th to the 21st of May in Portugal. Okay. So what is it? It's informal discussions intended to, this is from their website, foster dialogue between Europe and North America. And my understanding is it was like after World War II, because Europe and North America were the main allies in the war. They wanted to continue the communication.
Alliance.
Yeah. And, you know, not just through whatever. Hello, Rosemarie. Good to see you. And so there are about 130 political leaders and experts from industry, finance, labor, academia, and the media that attend. About 2/3 come from Europe, and the rest are from North America. And of the whole group, about 1/3 are politicians, government leaders, and the rest are from other fields. That's just the general breakdown.
When they have
these, huh?
I said, can I interject with a speculation?
Yes.
You're telling us what their website officially puts out there, right? 130 people, and they're claiming what 2/3 are politicians, and the rest are
1/3.
1/3 politicians, and everybody else is a special interest groups, which we know are royals, media, moguls, and finance, banking, and so on. All right, if you notice, they're glossing over that fact a little bit, but I digress. Basically, they're telling you that world leadership, world finance, world media meets in secret on a regular basis since 1954.
Every year.
And no names are given. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Lisa.
No names are given, no identities are given. There's more. Hang on, it gets deeper. Keep going.
Okay, so they follow Chatham House rule, kind of like, you know, some people follow Robert's Rules of Orders or whatever. They follow Chatham House rule that states participants are free to use the information received, but neither their identity nor their affiliation of the speakers nor any of the other participants may be revealed. So everybody's supposed to keep their mouth shut about who's there. Hello, Suzanne.
So nobody's accountable for the information that they disseminate to other world leaders. They're not held accountable for what they say or share.
And they're not supposed to talk about it. It's like what happens here stays here. Nobody talks about it when you get out.
No responsibility whatsoever. Yep.
Now, supposedly, because of this freedom, it gives people the opportunity to take time to listen, reflect, and gather insights. There's no detailed agenda. There's no resolutions proposed. No votes are taken. No policy statements are issued. Okay. It's just world leaders and big bank people and big industry people meeting to chit chat about whatever. Okay.
Sure, because that's what billionaires do with their time is they sit around and chit chat about world issues because it's fun.
Yes. Now, that said, on their website, which I'm not going to pull it up right at the moment, but the website is Bilderberg, Bilderberg, meetings.org. Okay. And they have the agendas, or not the agendas, excuse me. They list the topics that were discussed after the meeting happens. So this year's meeting, the things they talked about was AI, artificial intelligence, the banking system, China, energy transition, Europe, fiscal challenges, India, industrial policy and trade, NATO, the National Allied Treaty Organization, Russia, transnational threats, the Ukraine, and U.S. leadership, which is pretty much the stuff that's hitting the top of the mainstream media. But okay.
Yes.
All right.
More or less.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can also find on their website who the co-chairs are this year and from previous years, and who's on the steering committee. And man, did that take me down a rabbit hole. Okay. So first of all, one co-chair is Victor Halberstadt. He is a Dutch economist and on the faculty of the World Economic Forum. Margot, do you remember who's in charge of the World Economic Forum? Or what is that?
World Economic. No, I don't.
You want me to look at?
Yes.
I know, but
I've heard it so many times. I want to say Fauci, but that's not right.
Okay. The World Economic Forum is an independent international organization committed to improving the state of the world by engaging business. Crap, I lost it. I had it and clicked on it to get the rest of the statement. Oh,
and it popped away.
Yeah, wait a minute. Let me get the.
So it makes sense that Bilderberg's people are cross-hatched, cross-connected with the World Economic Forum.
Right. It engages the foremost political, business, cultural, and other leaders of society to shape global, regional, and industry agendas. It was established in 1971 as a not-for-profit foundation and is headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. It's independent, impartial, and not tied to special interests. Okay.
Again. Okay. Guys, are you seeing a pattern? Netherlands, Geneva, Switzerland, CERN, Geneva, Switzerland. A lot of royalty is related to people in Switzerland. Who was neutral? Neutral during World War I, World War II, Switzerland. Right in the middle of there. Okay. I'm pointing out a pattern. Y'all are not stupid. You got it.
Yeah, so Lisa says it sounds like the Renaissance weekend in Charleston. Woo, those can be wild. Okay.
Please continue.
All right. So we've got this guy who's on the faculty of the World Economic Forum. The other co-chair is Marie-Josée Kravis. I believe she is from Canada. She's a member of the International Advisory Committee of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Do we know who the Federal Reserve is?
You guys know what kind of clowns the Federal Reserve, that's a private institution that has been controlling money and finance all over the world for decades, since Jekyll Island off of the coast of Georgia after the rich guys killed two of the major billionaire dissenters by making them go down on the Titanic / the other ship that it might have been, the Britannica. Well,
Yeah,
whatever.
I think so.
They killed them.
Yeah.
And they all started the Federal Reserve on Jekyll Island off of Georgia. And they control all the money up until recently. Please continue. Klaus
Thank you.
Schwab. That's who it was. Klaus Schwab and Fauci are so much alike. Thank you,
We
Miss
love
Heidi.
it when you participate and you know what we're talking about. Yes, thank you.
Give Heidi one of these.
Okay.
Jazz hands.
She is also a columnist for Canadian newspapers. She's a member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. Gives out the Oscars and stuff. She is a French honorary commander of the French Legion. It was in French, and I can't say it in French, but I can tell that's what it means. A Knight of the Order of Merit of the Italian Republic. I'm like, France, Italy, America, and Canada. This woman gets around, right?
Where are her loyalties, folks? Just asking.
Her husband, here we go. She and her husband created the Marie José and Henry R. Kravis Research Building at Rockefeller University. And if you didn't know, the Rockefellers are descendants of the Rothschilds.
Yes, they are, and which are reportedly and substantially substantiated to be the beginning, the foundation, the leadership of the cabal and/or deep state.
Yeah,
Rothschilds and Rockefellers. Do you want to tell them who founded this Bilderberg group? The guy, the Denmark guy, and what his political affiliation was? The Denmark prince?
Oh, the guy who founded it. Let me go over that. I haven't gotten to that yet. Bilderberg. The guy who founded it. I found this in an article where it says if you want to know what an organization is really all about, dig down to the roots. And when you uncover the roots of the Bilderberg group, you find some unsettling things. Turns out it's had not the German, the bad Germans,
that starts with the letter N.
It ends in an I and has a funky looking symbol. There are connections from the very beginning, and it is, let's see.
Censorship, folks. We're trying to avoid certain words.
Yeah. During World War II, those people's effort to unite all of Europe and ultimately the rest of the world through the war failed miserably. And when the war ended, those that believed in that dream decided that another approach would be necessary. Instead of war, a united Europe would be achieved through international treaties and diplomacy. And so in 1957, the European Economic Community was established with 6 countries. And since then, it's become 28 nations known as the European Union. I should also mention it is the Bilderberg group that started the euro and changed their financial money.
Can we say
through their organ? Yes.
The British citizens said, hell no. They figured it out before it was too late.
So Prince Bernard of the Netherlands was not only a founder, he was the chairman until 1976. So from 54 to 76, he was the chairman. He belonged to the Nazi Party at one time. Oh shit, sorry about that. This is an excerpt from the Telegraph. He was a member until 1934, 3 years before he married Princess Juliana. A Dutch historian has found membership documents in Humboldt University where the prince studied and had all these documents. Okay. And then he went to work for a big German chemical giant, IG Farben. He worked.
It's a cover story.
He worked for them. That IG Farben's notorious NW7 group were spies for the opponents. He also belonged to the Dutch branch of the Ninth Templar.
They were spies for the German faction that we?
Yes.
Okay.
But he was and he was appointed. Let's see. He belonged to the Dutch branch of the Knights Templar, and in 54 was appointed to govern the Dutch order. John Foster Dulles, Dulles Airport, anybody? Was the most helpful American in setting up the Bilderberg Group.
I bet. Yeah, I bet. Name some of the people, and you. Before the show.
Alan Dulles, John's brother, was responsible for Operation Paperclip.
Have we talked about Operation Paperclip yet?
We have not talked extensively, but we've mentioned it.
Bottom line, Operation Paperclip, when Germany lost the war, the letter N group did not lose the war, but Germany did. That political group took off in the form of scientists who were transferred to the United States. And that program with the government is actually called Operation Paperclip, such as Oppenheimer, a movie that is out right now. Go check it out.
So she said King Edward was reportedly a member of the same party. I believe you're talking about the Knights Templar.
Bilderberg, I think she's talking about Bilderberg too. Almost every single person of royalty has been in the Bilderberg meetings and group, including Charles and Elizabeth and all those.
Yeah. So, okay. So we got the founder, we got the co-chairs. Now, the steering committee. This year's the end part. Oh, yes. King Edward was the end. Yes, thank you. He was.
Oh, yeah. King Edward. Before Queen Elizabeth. Yes, he was a in-party sympathizer. Yeah, he was a tiny mustache. He was a tiny mustache
fan. Yeah,
fan. He was a tiny mustache fan.
Yeah,
so, we'll come up with something. So. A little day had the Ricky Ricardo there, but shorter.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, almost all royalty was in on that since then as well, from many nations, not just Great Britain. But you were on to something. What were you saying?
Okay. Steering committee. These are the people that kind of organize everything for these meetings, right? And this is this year's steering committee. These are some of the members. I didn't deep dive on all of them, but I picked a few and I was just randomly picking people, and then picked a couple of names that I thought I knew, and then I was like, holy shit. Yeah, okay. So at the top of the list, because they were in alphabetical order, was Stacey Abrams. That name ring a bell to anybody? Best-selling author, entrepreneur, and a tax attorney. She was in the Georgia House of Representatives. Big politician, famous nationally. She owns Stagework Productions, which is a media company. And she received degrees from Spelman College, the LBJ School of Public Affairs at University of Texas, and Yale Law School. Okay, so that's Stacey Abrams, and she's on this steering committee for this. Roger Altman is founder and senior chairman of Evercore, which is the most active independent investment bank in the United States.
He's a big banker that moves a lot of money in the U.S. Next person.
Borga Brinde. I know the Borga's right. I'm Brinde, Brende. He is the current president of the World Economic Forum. He was Secretary General of Red Cross Norway. He's chairman of the United Nations Commission of Sustainable Development. He was a member of the board of, I believe it's Statoil. And Statoil is ranked by Fortune magazine as the world's 13th largest oil and gas company. Can you say connected? Okay.
Can you say major power broker all over the world in many pies? Yeah. But he goes to secret meetings to get little fun ideas. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Very woke group. Yeah.
Classic. Yeah. Thank you. Perfect word for it.
Satya Nadella. If that name doesn't ring a bell, She is the CEO of Microsoft. He, I don't know what it is. I don't
Doesn't
remember.
matter. That's a
All
major
right.
power broker right there. Yeah.
Eric Schmidt, former CEO and chair of Google.
So let me stop you there a second. Just a little bit of clarity. Why is it a big deal that these people have Yale education, Harvard education, Microsoft CEOs, Google CEOs? Why is that a big deal in this context?
Well, people, put your bunny ears on because we're going down the rabbit hole. Or put on your scuba gear because we're going for a deep dive. Okay.
Brace yourself, Effie.
Okay. Yeah. Harvard, all the Harvard, Yale, Harvard and Yale. Well, Harvard's the oldest, I believe. It was founded and is considered. It is where all I think most of the presidents of the United States have been. They have the Skull and Bones Club, which people say doesn't exist, but then you find out it does exist.
It
It
does.
does. And there's been movies about it and all that stuff. There is
It's an elite society school.
very elite. And usually the upper crust, upper 1%, that sort of thing. And they have lots of secret meetings, lots of secret exchanges. People make these lifetime connections that they all seem to climb on each other's backs to keep elevating themselves. And you can go even deeper. There's references of satanic stuff with Harvard. There's what else, Margo?
There's a bunch of secret societies as she was talking about, but historically, a lot of people with nefarious, who have made nefarious choices that have come out in and have been exposed for nefarious and or illegal or similar white collar crime all the way down to blue collar crime, actually got their education at these schools.
Mm-hmm.
So and apparently these schools have a way of, if you are one of us, we have connections, friends, attorneys, politicians, people in power who will overlook it and brush it aside for you. In other words, you get a free pass under fairly easily under most conditions. And those two schools seem to be the origin of where a lot of those people hook up originally, is their alma mater, which is often Yale or Harvard.
Yeah. So
so why is it a big deal that some of these are also top managers of Microsoft and Google? Why is that a big deal?
Look at the communication control.
We all use both of those a whole bunch, right?
I mean, they're like the Ma Bell of current media. There are connection. Google. Everybody uses Google for all kinds of things. Google
Research.
has access to so much of our information because we store it in the Google Cloud. We use their Gmail. We use all that stuff, and people share and all that. And you think Google doesn't have their fingers in it? No, it's weird.
Microsoft's a part of it. Yeah.
And then you have Microsoft, which Jesus, we I can't even.
They own everything.
Yeah.
Everything technical.
Yeah. Okay.
So these people that shape our day-to-day lives, our day-to-day transactions, our day-to-day purchases, our day-to-day choices, have their little secret meetings about how to do such things with their other elite friends.
Because of the next person I'm getting ready to talk about, it reminded me Google is very strong in the educational system because Google tablets are given to kids across the board in schools to use to connect to the internet, to do their schoolwork, all that stuff.
Standard issue to control all information going into schools.
Exactly. All right. So that said, the next person on the steering committee is Gerard Zeiler. Zeiler. No, yeah, Zeiler. He is the president of Warner Brothers Discovery International Division.
So Warner Brothers.
Yes.
A large media company and movie maker.
And what is Discovery used for?
That's a television channel, correct? And website?
And strong educational ties.
It's an education source, yeah.
Okay.
Once again, shaping what people think is reality by shaping their basic education. Yep.
Peter Thiel, I believe it's how it's, or Thiel. He is a German-American billionaire entrepreneur, went to Stanford Law School, another Ivy League.
He's like Harvard, yeah.
He's a venture capitalist, political activist, co-founder of PayPal.
With Elon Musk.
And he was the first outside investor in Facebook.
Interesting.
As of June 23, his net worth was $9.7 billion with a B, and was ranked 213th on the Bloomberg Billionaires Index.
Guys, I heard a great analogy to get a brain wrap on how big a billion is. We throw out million and billion casually. Just so you know, 1 million seconds is about 17 days. 1 billion seconds is about 32 years. The difference between 17 days and 32 years. That's how much 1 million and 1 billion. Okay, to give you a scope, this guy has 9 billion plus in money. By the way, that's what they report out loud in public. You can guarantee that number is something else entirely in private. Yeah.
Okay, so that just kind of gives you a background. Let me share the screen. There is a list of share. Where am I? Share. Dang it. Wait a minute. Sorry, I messed up.
No worries. There was a list of other people that were part of NATO, strategic director for strategic U.S. strategic planning.
Yeah, that's Bilderberg.
It makes sense that these people are talking about AI, banking, NATO, and things like that. It makes sense that they're talking about that because it's obviously related to their professional careers and their financial careers. What's creepy is that there's no regulation and there's no accountability, and they're just sharing ideas and technology with no accountability. Matter of fact, it's against the rules to associate any accountability to what they share with each other. But it also makes sense, moving on, it makes sense that they also wanted to talk about Russia and Ukraine. They want to talk about the current U.S. president as well. These are all things that eventually will affect international politics and or finance. Actually, that's the same thing. So it makes sense that they're worried about China. It makes sense they're worried about India. It makes sense they're worried about Russia, Ukraine, and the U.S.
So I just wanted to show, and I'll try to make this a little bit bigger if I can. Let me go up here, make it.
Sure. There you go. Just scroll down a little.
So these are the people. It's on the Bilderbergmeetings.org website, and it does give the participants, even though they're not supposed to talk about who was there, they did list the participants. So of course there's Stacey Abrams again. They're in alphabetical order. We have the chair of the global advisory board for the Deutsche Bank,
which is going under right now, right? Yeah, one of the biggest banks in the world. The leader of the Social Democratic Party. Interesting.
You've got the CEO of OpenAI, artificial intelligence. Yeah, the leader of the Social Democratic Party, staff writer from the Atlantic.
Yep, for the United States, the French, where was it? French Minister for Transportation, French Minister for Public Accounts.
The chair of international advisors for Goldman Sachs.
Another huge money mover. Pfizer, look at that. Albert Bourla, in the U.S. chair and CEO of Pfizer, is in the Bilderberg Group. And he's just chatting away with everybody else, having fun and tea and crumpets and satanic shit. Sorry, it just comes right back up.
Christopher Cavoli, he
Supreme Allied Commander, Europe. Hello.
He is a general in the U.S. Army, and as of July 2022, he serves as commander of the United States European Command and Supreme Allied Commander of Europe. He is one of our friggin' generals.
Tell him what country he was born in.
Oh, whoops! Wait a minute.
He's not a natural U.S. citizen.
He was born in Germany.
West Germany. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And he's a U.S. Army commander. Something's not adding up there.
He's a general. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we've got the director for technology from the U.S., senior director for technology and national security of the National Security Council.
In the United States.
Somebody else from the United States was the former director of the National Economic Council.
Mm-hmm. Jen Easterly, the director of Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency for the USA. Elizabeth Economy, U.S. Senior Advisor for China, Department of Commerce. It goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
Canada's Deputy Prime Minister. I'm looking, if you look at the countries, USA, Turkey, Italy, USA, Great Britain, GBR, Denmark.
Director of National Intelligence.
Holy shit.
And then here's somebody else from Warner's Brother Discovery, but in Poland, not America. Oh, Henry Kissinger is still coming to these things. Let me look him up real quick. I think he's right at 100.
Yeah, that's how important he is. And people don't realize
he was born in 23. Yeah, he just turned 100 years old.
Yeah. Museum of Modern Art, chair of the Museum of Modern Art.
President of the European Parliament.
Mm-hmm. There's more.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes on and on. Secretary General of NATO.
Oh, there it is.
We've got the Carnegie Endowment. That's
Chair for Strategic Affairs, Carnegie. Carnegie was one of the people that was in on that Jekyll Island, Georgia thing for starting the Federal Reserve, which is a private institution, not a government institution. Goldman Sachs, yep. President and COO.
Senior Director for Strategic Planning of the National Security Council.
Thomas Wright. Yeah.
So anyway, just
an important coffee clat.
Yes. So when you start, looking at all that and going, holy cow, that's the participants, that's the history. And when you start seeing all of these connections, where do we go from there? And we went over the so, and just to clarify, because we talked about a couple of people from NATO were there. It was founded in 49 against
NATO was.
Soviet aggression, and it was the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and it's the U.S. European military cooperation. Okay, so
I'm seeing a pattern here, Iris. In 49, NATO came up. In 54, Bilderberg came up. Around 57, 58, late 50s, the U.S. leadership started making agreements and treaties with ETs. Guys, go look into it. And the military complex at the time started making bargains for technology in exchange for some pretty dark stuff that I'm not going to repeat here because censorship, not allowed yet. So,
okay,
so
so
their lives. There's something was going on in those 10 years, Iris. Something heavy was going on in those 10 years. Yeah.
And I pulled an article from Time magazine that was printed June 9th, 2016. And it starts out, a shadowy world government, political kingmakers, a capitalist cabal looking to impose its will across the globe. For decades, conspiracy theorists have tried to decode the secretive Bilderberg Group, an annual gathering of some of the world's most powerful figures. But little is known about what's said at the private meetings. They talk about a couple things we've already covered in here, but in 2000, British politician Dennis Healey, who had been involved in Bilderberg for decades, told The Guardian, quote, "To say we are striving for a one world government is exaggerated, but not wholly unfair. Those of us in Bilderberg felt we couldn't go on forever fighting one another for nothing and killing people and rendering millions homeless. So we felt that a single community throughout the world would be a good thing."
It's not aliens. I'm not saying it was, how does he say it?
I'm not saying it was the aliens, but it was the aliens.
But it was the aliens, right? I'm not saying it's the aliens, but it was the aliens. What was his name? George Sokolakis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ancient alien fame, his line on that. Yeah. No, we're not. I'm not. It's not calling it a one world thing, but yeah, we'd be nice if everybody was in the same village all over the world at once.
Yeah.
But not the same thing. Yeah, they're still rowing that boat.
Yeah.
Hard. So
I did find another article, although it's kind of it's on the edge, but it talks about this was in 2016 as well. There are stories about the history of the Bilderberg Group, and this one is resolving the Bilderberg Group mystery, global banking, the other name for the Germans, and alien alliances.
The short mustache club, yeah. That flies out here.
Right. The Bilderberg Group has already become, according to, was a whistleblower. I was trying to. He was mentioned earlier in the article, and I can't find where they said who he is. But he said, "quote: They have gathered yearly in a luxurious hotel somewhere in the world to try to decide the future of humanity. The Bilderberg Group has grown beyond its idealistic beginnings to become a shadow world government, which decides in total secrecy at annual meetings how their plans are to be carried out. They threaten to take away our right to direct our own destiny." So is this guy and other critics correct? The following story was told to me by a former hotel employee who had worked at a venue where the Bilderberg Group had met one year. This is a year where Bill Clinton was in attendance, according to this hotel staff member. "I found him very credible, and he had no reason to fabricate what follows. While at work during the annual meeting, he was instructed to deliver an important message to a specific person attending a meeting in one of the smaller meeting rooms. As is now well known, it is the tradition of the Bilderbergers to hire an entire hotel for exclusive use during an annual meeting. All hotel staff are basically there to serve the needs of the participants. So it was not unusual for this guy to be given such a task, which he was now responsible to complete. Go give this person this message. He was refused entry and was asked to hand the message over to someone else. He insisted he was under strict orders to deliver the message personally. After some heated discussion, he was given permission to enter the meeting room. That's when things became very bizarre. Upon entering, he saw approximately 24 people seated around a large rectangular table. They were speaking in a cacophony of sounds, none of which was intelligible. It didn't sound like any language he had ever heard before. He couldn't see any faces among those seated around the table. He could see their physical bodies in suits, but the faces were hazy due to some kind of mist or fog. There was an intense energy field pervading the room. It was unusual and felt otherworldly to him. He felt resentment being projected towards him over his unwelcome presence. He was directed toward the person to whom he had to deliver the message. He delivered the message and promptly left the room. He was unaware of the message's contents. Soon after leaving the room, he experienced a massive headache which lasted several days, and he had to take time off. Then they guess at what this could be. A former U.S. Navy intelligence and aerospace engineer, William Tompkins, revealed U.S. Navy spies embedded within Germany's advanced technology projects during World War II had learned that the war effort was being assisted by extraterrestrial visitors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that stuff started in World War II. Yeah, more or less.
And if you will recall, when we had Tony on last month
before, yeah, he talked about there were German settlements on moons and planets that were decades and decades old.
I have heard more and more and more about how
there are German settlements all over our solar system, and you hear different stories. And one story is that a lot of those German settlements don't realize the Earth is still alive. They think they have been told that it was wiped out with nuclear disaster and that they are the only surviving humans. Others do know that they have family and ancestors back on Earth and that they live on a separate planet. And another story is those German settlements, those Earthlings, have no idea they're not on Earth. Their whole environment is a hologram, is a holodeck, is mind manipulation. Let me refer to the popular movie that tells you more about that called The Truman Story. And they show you how you can manipulate a person's whole life and whole community under one person's camera and supervision. And that's pre-advanced technology that ETs have. And if we can do it on our scale, you damn straight they can do it on their scale, planet-wide or moon-wide, whatever scale it is.
There was an interesting show that I watched. I think it was on regular TV, but it streamed later on another channel, like on Netflix or something. And that's where I caught it. But it was called The 100.
Yeah.
And that was all these people who had escaped Earth thinking that it was going to be blown up, and they thought it was gone, and then they come back around and find out, hey, we could live there. And it wasn't as bad as what they thought.
Movies tell us the truth, but in an entertainment format so that it doesn't register as that. So it's an interesting cycle for sure.
Yeah.
Pay attention to the Bilderberg groups, guys, in the news when something comes out. It'll keep throwing you flags, signs for rabbit holes and agents of change, because things like the Bilderberg group are coming to an end in
And
this in the new age. Yeah.
I think one of the things too that, I mean, the research, and it's like now the more like I dig into something like this, well, for example, I've dug into other stuff, or I pay attention to the names that get dropped and who's controlling what, or what. I don't watch a lot of news, but I'll see stories or I'll hear somebody talking about something on the radio or whatever. And it's like they'll give the name of some bigwig, and it's like now it catches my attention more because who is handling stuff? Who are the puppets behind the scenes? Who's the man behind the curtain? That kind of thing. And so
Connecting
then when
dots.
when I take a deep dive into something like Bilderberg, and I'm going, I recognize that name. I know that company. Holy cow. You start going down the list, and then you start realizing these other names will pop up other places, and where they've popped up before, they're now popping up here. And it's like, this is really a very tight knit group of people that have too much power, in my opinion.
1% over 99% of the population. Yeah.
And it's like, why? Why is, how come that
Why?
person got all that power?
How the hell did we get here?
Yes.
Rumble.com is a good place to do that kind of research. DuckDuckGo instead of Google is another place to do research that's less censored. And there's actually a lot of truth telling on YouTube if you know where to look. Eventually, we're going to do a show that's going to list a bunch of resources for how you too can go dig in your own rabbit holes and
In
pursue
fact,
the topics that speak to you. Yeah.
let's go ahead and bring up coming up for
Yes.
August. Can you believe July's gone almost?
Boom.
Yeah. So next week we're gonna talk about awakenings, helping others with shock, grief, coping, and denial. So as people wake up, if you're dealing with people who are waking up, your family, friends,
Normies.
yeah, the normies,
Sleepers. Yeah, the
right.
sheeple, the normies, the sleepers
There's
as they
some
wake
do's
up.
and don'ts there, so we're going to share that with you.
Yeah.
Then we're going to the next week. We got pod people, and it's not aliens. We're going to
You're
talk
right.
about the sources of info that we typically go to, or that are good, sane sources, podcasts, other podcasts. Where
Podcast
to
people.
where to find some of this
Truthers.
information. Yeah, for
Truthers,
yourself.
reporters, rebels, nonconformists, information hounds, educators, all that good stuff. Yeah.
Yes. And then August 16th is our monthly psychic readings. The 23rd, clones, copy that. We're going to talk
That's
about them.
rabbit hole. Big. Yep.
Yep.
Clones.
Okay. Yeah.
Clones.
And then on August 30th, a little calmer, but we've talked about, you hear people go, oh, I'm holding them in the light, or I'm holding space for that person. And what does that mean? How do you do that? What is your relation to doing that, and what is the other person's relation to do that? Exactly what all does that involve? So that's kind of where we're
It's a
going with
great
that.
coping tool to have, especially if you are a helper kind of person. You help other people, you support other people, you're a natural mommy, you're a natural daddy, for a big sister, big brother for other people. Holding space is a less expensive way to hugely support someone in need, any kind of need. Physical, mental, emotional, financial, spiritual, doesn't matter.
Yes.
We'll show you some how-tos. Yeah.
All right. Well, we hope that that you were able to hang with us, and maybe we gave you some insights, and maybe you're walking away thinking we're a little crazy, and that's okay. Do the research.
Oh, sure. Please always
Yeah.
do the research. Don't
And
take
just
our
keep
word
your
for it.
ears open. If nothing else, keep your ears open. See what's coming out of these people in the future.
Write
You
down,
know?
remember names, and you're going to start connecting dots too, just like Iris was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
But there's hope. There's always more. There's good people
yes,
doing just as much as these funky people are. So observe, but don't let it get you down. Just observe, be in the know.
exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good night, everyone, and thank you for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you for joining the Eyes of Indigo with Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this podcast. Music is Arcadia by Kevin MacLeod. Find us at facebook.com/Eyes of Indigo, on YouTube under @Iris Carter Enterprises, and on various podcast aggregators. Copyright 2023 by Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears.